All right, today we're going to talk about difference of squares. Difference of squares are exactly the way that they're described. Difference meaning subtraction. Squares meaning you can take the square root. And it'll equal a whole number. Okay, so if we're talking about a difference of square problem, let me give you an example of one that is and then one that isn't. So an example and then a non-example is what I like to call these. Okay, the first one that we're going to do is 4x squared minus 81. I can take the square root of 4. That's going to give me 2. Square root of x squared is x, so I can make that 2x. And then 81 is going to be 9. So this one will work. So I can take the square root of both of those, and it has a subtraction sign. So that's the other thing I'm looking for. So on a non-example, sometimes on the EOC, they love to give you a problem that looks like this. You see how they look almost identical, but the thing that's wrong with this one is the plus. So the thing that's wrong with this one is addition. Addition, not subtraction. I'm just going to abbreviate. So if it's got an addition instead of subtraction, you cannot count that as a perfect square or a difference of squares problem. Another one would be something like 3x squared minus 14. It has the minus and it has the two terms, but I can't take the square root of 3 and I can't take the square root of 14. So again, I'm going to highlight the things that don't make it a difference of squares. Can't take the square root. All right, so we're going to start off with a basic problem, and then we'll start to incorporate what we learned in our last lesson, which was the GCF, because you always need to make sure that there's a GCF before you proceed with the problem. All right, so our first one, let's just go ahead and use the one that we had as our example up here and solve it out. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is take the square root of both terms. We're going to take the square root of 4x squared. We're also going to take the square root of 81. Do not include your negative, okay? So if we were to take the square root of this, we're going to have 2x. This is going to go in the front because it was in the front of the problem. The next thing you need to know is that there's going to be a minus and a plus to make this a negative, because a negative times a positive equals a negative. So must have 1 plus and 1 minus. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take the square root of 81. Square root of 81 is 9. So I'm going to put that in the back of both of my parentheses. Now, what you can do if you are taking an EOC and they have both of this like fully factored out is if you wanted to double check yourself, you can multiply it using FOIL. So first times first, 4x squared. First times last, negative 18x. If I do last times first, I can go ahead and make that positive 18x. So if I am doing a negative 18 and a positive 18, those cross out. And that's the beauty of this plus and minus. That means that I'm not going to have a middle term. The negative 9 times positive 9 gives me negative 81. So we have done it correctly. We have checked ourselves. We're good to go. Okay? All right, the next example is going to be one where you have the GCF. I'm not going to do so much talking about it as I am going to just go through the problems. So example number 2, let's do 12x squared minus 27. All right, when I'm doing this one, I'm going to ask, is there a GCF? On this one, I know that 3 goes into 12 and into 27. So I'm going to divide, yes, 3. So I'm going to divide both of these by 3. And now I'm left with 4x squared minus 9. And I'm sorry that I used like the same, the same front term, but oh well. We already know that the square root of 4x, and then I'm just going to put my 3 in the front. I'm going to go ahead and do my square root. Square root of 4x squared from the previous problems, 2x. And then again, minus and a plus sign. Square root of 9, 3, and 3. And then don't forget your GCF goes in the front. So that is the thing that most people forget is the GCF. Don't forget the GCF. And you're good to go. All right. See you next time. Bye, guys.